All right, again, thank you for participating. Looks like we have about 26 participants, so thank you for your time. I wanted to start off by just saying how much the Wake Forest community is here for you. We're empathizing with you and your situation as we're all going through this difficult time together. I want you to know that we're here for you, and we want to support you in every step of the process. If you're not ready to go through an internship or career search, that's perfectly fine and understandable. If you're still trying to get adjusted to classes and whatnot, moving virtually, or if you have some unique circumstances with your family members, it's totally understandable. So I don't want to feel like there's any pressure placed on any of you based off of the information we have. But we also know that there are people who are ready to move forward and look for a job search or look for a job or an internship and do that search. And we wanted to provide some insights into which we have been able to identify over the last couple of weeks and to encourage you and give you some hope in terms of what we're seeing from the current state of the market. We know there's a lot of messages that are going out there from whether it's from your friends or family or media outlets. And we wanted to share directly and authentically with you what we feel like is going on in the labor market for Wake Forest students and in college recruiting as a whole. So with that, I'm going to talk for maybe 10 minutes or so on some of the trends that we're seeing. Please have your questions there to the right, and there's another member on our staff that will be monitoring that, and I'll monitor it as well. And then we'll go through those questions. And if we don't get through all of them today, or if you want to send me an email, I'll put my information up there, or you can text me the questions as well, and we can chat one-on-one at a different time. So just to start, as we know that the market has definitely changed. It's changed literally almost overnight in the last couple of weeks. But there is hope. As I said before, we are seeing evidence that companies are still posting. Students are getting job offers from companies. We heard from a couple today, in fact. And really, it's important that you apply and remain resilient in this process like Wake Forest students and alums do. This market is also going to require you to look at other alternatives that you may not be at the top of mind or may not be your first choice, looking at different locations, looking at different industries, looking at different companies. Any of these things will help you. Now is the time to cast your net very wide, not to be narrow, but to be very wide in the process of when you're applying. So many of you get the newsletter that Lisa Simmons on our team puts together along with our team, and I had a few comments in it to kind of summarize some of the things that we're saying. It's the Employer Pulse newsletter that was sent to you yesterday at about 11:30 a.m. And I'm just going to talk about a few things in there. If you have not seen that, you can go back and get the full listing of comments that were made there. But it's important to note that this information that I'm sharing is based off of what we've interacted with employers from the March 23rd to March 26th timeframe. As you can imagine, the situation environment here is very fluid. It's changing daily. So we had one example of where we interacted with an employer 9 days ago, and they said everything is fine, we're moving forward as planned. 9 days later, they said we're canceling some of our programs and activities and internships. So I say that to you not to alert you to things that may be on the horizon, but to just let you know that it is a very unusual state right now, and a lot of things are moving very quickly, and we're only able to provide the information that we have at a particular time period, and that is definitely subject to change. So for those of you that are on the call that are looking for internships, what we have found is about half of all the internships from employers that we have found during this particular time, they're moving as planned. Most of those are going to be virtual just by the nature of where they're located and some of the other orders the federal government has in place. Additionally, we have a number, about 20% roughly, are in a kind of a wait and see mode. They're trying to determine what is the best avenue for them moving forward with the internship. And many of them are making their plans known this week or even next week in terms of what we're seeing. And then there are a number, unfortunately, that have announced that they are doing away with the internship program. And one of the best sites that we have right now, and I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see this, and maybe Lisa, you can post this in the chat feature so they can see it as well. But it's a crowdsourced, or maybe you can share it for you. It says that I can't share it, but there is a site that was available that listed through crowdsourcing all of the internship programs that they could come up with. There was hundreds of them, and it basically provided status. Either they were as planned or canceled, and then there would be a comment within that. And that has been very helpful for us, as it has been with other Career Center directors as well, to try and identify what is the current status of hundreds or thousands of internships. So as Lisa has pulled this up, it's a site, and she'll put this in there. You can see a list of the canceled internship programs. And you'll see a note there to the right if there is any additional information they may have. This site is probably one of the more helpful websites that we found. If you keep scrolling further down, Lisa, you can see, yeah, we're up to the ones now where it says not canceled. And you'll see many of them have, you know, remote, or there's a hiring freeze, which means they may not convert to full-time, or you may not be getting an offer at the conclusion of these internships. But as you'll see, most of these are remote. The employers that interact with Wake Forest students, some of those are on there. In our own outreach, it's pretty much been a mirror of what this master database has shown in terms of those that are moving forward as planned, those going to virtually, those that are still on the fence right now, they're trying to get more information, or those that those have canceled, or those that are not canceled. So this is a good overview of hundreds of different companies, some very popular employers. Many of them on there have hired our students in the past. I see Red Hat there, Salesforce, Plaid. It goes on and on there. So that's what we're seeing on the internship side. On the other side of the equation, if you're looking more for full-time opportunities, I would say that it's a little bit more optimistic. There's only been 3 examples that we've seen of Wake Forest students of having a full-time offer rescinded. About 70% of those employers that we've reached out to said things are moving as planned. The remaining percentage is they have kind of a wait and see approach, which means that they may or may not do something more drastic, or either they may be moving the start dates further out into the fall. I think what we will see next fall is that fall recruiting may be getting off to a little bit slower start because of the longer length of time that is going to occur with this particular recruiting cycle because of the virus. But having said that, on the full-time positions, and what I alluded to earlier, there are companies that are still hiring, there are companies that are still interviewing, and there are companies that are still posting jobs, okay? That is the silver lining here. It's not as negative as everyone may think that it is right now. And we actually have some data to show that. And I think what's happening is that that students may be getting discouraged by what they're reading, what they're hearing from some of their other friends or colleagues as well. And we actually track handshake data, engagement data. And Lisa, I'm not sure if I can get to my screen that has that dashboard or not, or you may need to do that for us there. And Ashley, if you're on, you may be able to, actually, you probably wouldn't have access to that either. But nonetheless, what the data is showing in Handshake is if you look at this point in time after spring break and compare it to the other 2 years ahead of time, you'll notice that there's a slight decrease in most days in the terms of the number of job and internship postings to Handshake. But overall, it's not as significant of a decline as we're seeing in students logging into Handshake and then students who are actually applying to jobs. It's a pretty significant drop in terms of the student engagement. Again, that's totally fine. People may just be so overwhelmed with the situation that's in front of them now, or they're dealing with family issues, or dealing with virtual class changes as opposed to face-to-face. And it may not be a priority right now. Some of our colleagues have said that they've seen that also on other college campuses as well, so that there's fewer people actually engaged in the process. In fact, Lisa on our team found an article today by Indeed.com that showed that the number of applications to their internships on their board has declined significantly, so much so that it's almost like the student is not even looking for internships this particular time. One of the other things that is somewhat related to that, though, is we think there's a great opportunity for those people that are ready to start looking for jobs. Now is the time to apply to as many jobs as you can that are in your particular field that you think that you could work for. Because we are seeing that that companies are not getting as many applications as they had in the past. So therefore, the chances of getting called for an interview may be a little bit higher or greater than it has been in the past. So these charts that that Lisa had kind of put together demonstrate this. And thanks for pulling that up, Lisa. And I appreciate everyone for hanging in there with us while we do this. So I believe I think you're going to have to maybe do that, Lisa. If you go down to look at, say, the first chart, line 18, if you go over to 18 there on the right and just hover over 18, and you can see how the number of applications have declined on that particular day compared to days after spring break in the 2 previous years. You can also, if you go down to 18, in the second one, Lisa, thank you very much. You'll see that the number of logins, student logins to Handshake, you can see the decline there, taking the data we have from March 25th. If you go down to the next graph, you'll see the number of job postings per day and how that connects to fiscal year 18, 19, and then 20. You'll see that the dip is not as great as it is with some of the student login and data. So therefore, we thank you for showing us the chart, Lisa. Therefore, we believe there's an opportunity for you all to go ahead and apply to as many of these opportunities as possible. And we think there's a sense of urgency to do that now, because if you look at the unemployment claims that are announced last Thursday, there were 3.28 million people that filed for unemployment, which is about 4 to 5 times the amount that has ever been recorded. And the highest number was back in 2008 during the Great Recession. we anticipate that number is going to increase in each week. So I think there's a sense of urgency to apply and get into some of these jobs now before the market is flooded with more job seekers who have more experience maybe than you do, and have been working for a period of time that may funnel down to those positions that were ordinarily reserved for recent college graduates. Now, we don't know if that's going to be the case, but I think there's an opportunity for you to apply now to some of these openings while there's not as many applicants right now from what we're seeing. So one question that people ask is, well, what types of industries are you seeing the greatest amount of hiring from? And currently, without question, supply chain is a big employer right now. Also, what's known as the food and health retail. So from a health retail, Walgreens, CVS, the like. And then the government sector. These are some of the larger industries that are hiring right now that we have seen. Now, these may not be your dream jobs here, but in terms of quantity of hires, these are the industries where you're seeing the most movement. Specifically, here is a list of companies, and we can put this on the chat box as well. Here are companies that we've interacted with or know or have been in our sphere that are hiring right now. Now, not all of these are going to have positions posted on Handshake. I would encourage you to go to their company site or LinkedIn or Indeed or other places like that. And some of these you may not have interest in, and I totally understand that, and that's perfectly fine. But here is just a partial list. Companies such as Aldi, Abercrombie and Fitch, Alpha Sites, Amwin, CVS, Carrier, DoorDash, Dollar General, Domino's, Epic, FedEx, SEMA, Google, GE Healthcare, Home Depot, Instacart, Lineage Logistics, PepsiCo, PayPal, Procter & Gamble, Papa John's, Square, Southern Teachers Agency, UPS, Walgreens, and 3M, just to name a few. So some of these are actually on the Handshake website where you can see and participate in. Some of these specifically, I know Amy Bull from our staff has, I think, a session lined up with PepsiCo, and some of the opportunities they have. They're a tier 1 employer of OAIC students over the years, and we certainly have a connection to Pepsi with our former dean of the business school having been the CEO of Pepsi years back. So what can you do now? That would be the question. I think everyone understands that the market has changed a little bit. You may have to cast a wider net, that things are going to be a little bit different moving forward, but stay positive in this process. I think it's very important to log into Handshake or LinkedIn or any of these other sites that you have on a daily basis. I would even set up search agents around your particular field so the emails can come in to you automatically and maybe save you a little bit of time. And whenever you get these announcements, I think you should really apply to as many of these opportunities as you can. Now is not the time to eliminate opportunities. You want to get in the game with as many of these opportunities and companies as possible. Participating in an event like this, I think, is good to get some information. Tomorrow, we're going to have Ashley on our team, and Mallory is going to give an overview of Handshake. And Wednesday, we have a Wake alum who actually works at LinkedIn that's going to tell you how to do a job and internship search using their platform. And then Thursday, probably the best thing maybe in the next month or so that you're going to have access to, and that is the Atlantic Coast Conference Southeastern Conference virtual job fair. I think there's nearly over 200 companies now that are posting jobs and internships. It starts at 9 tomorrow, and Lisa, maybe you can have the, you're putting that up there right now. Perfect, thank you. But there's nearly 200 companies participating. on that particular day. There's 29 schools from the two conferences, and it's a tremendous opportunity for you. We've actually heard, I think Dana on our team heard from some of her employers saying they're really looking forward to interacting, or maybe this was Jason, that they're really interested in interacting with Wake students through this platform where they can talk to Wake students and other students as well. Lastly, I'll just say that you should definitely reach out to your coaches. They're going to be reaching out to you. Respond to their emails, interact and use these resources. They're here for you. It is a wonderful advantage that you have of having someone advocate on your behalf and to help and assist you. So please use these coaches. And finally, just open the emails from us. Our staff and Lisa does a great job putting together all types of material, job postings and so forth in our weekly newsletter. If you can share it with your colleagues, that would be great. It goes out every Sunday morning around 11, around lunchtime, sometime around that time period is when you'll get it. And we put a lot of time and effort in terms of getting that information to you. All you have to do is open the email and click on the links, and we try and make it as easy on you as possible. So at this time, I'm not going to, that concludes my comments right now, and I'll go through the chat board here and see if anyone has any questions. I'll be glad to answer those in greater detail. So one question came to us from Amy. Amy had a question that said, what are the job projections for 3, 6, or 9 months from now? We know that this is a fluid market at the moment, but do you have any predictions? And I'm sorry, I'm not sure I'd have any predictions. Most of folks feel like that it is going to come back, that if this is a recession or bear market, it's going to be temporary. It's not an economic problem that we're having. It's a health issue right now. So therefore, the economy is still strong, especially with some of the stimulus funding that has been pumped into it by the federal government. We think that when things come back, it's going to come back very nicely. I think what you're seeing by some of the companies moving out start dates a bit, that they're just trying to buy some additional time. We had one prominent Big Four accounting firm said, under no circumstances are we rescinding any offers at this stage. You've had a number of other CEOs that are coming and saying there will be no layoffs or furloughs for a period of time. That was the KPMG CEO who said that today. So I think it will get better. I don't know how long that duration is, 3, 6, or 9 months, but I think it will get better in 2021. Question here is, you mentioned getting in contact with some kind of agent to get emails from companies. Could you please elaborate on this for someone who's new to the job or internship search? So what I'm suggesting here is, and you can find out more about this tomorrow in Handshake, is you can actually go through and determine what are your search criteria that you want. So let's say you're looking for full-time jobs in the New York area that is in marketing, and you want those companies to be the top companies that are in our Wake Employer Network. You can create a search feature for that, and then it will run and give you leads to these opportunities whenever they're posted. So in other words, it gets pushed to this. Additionally, LinkedIn and all the others do the exact same thing, Indeed.com and some of the others as well. So that's what I mean by creating a search agent or a daily email digest, whatever you'd like to, whatever you would like to call it. Let's see the next question here. This is from Izzy. I was wondering if you can explain a little bit about how the virtual career fair will work. Currently, I'm not sure I will have the best interpretation on this. I know that Lisa on our team has experienced some of these in the past. It's using a platform called Career Echo. It's what will be used for this. What I would be prepared to do is to have your research down on the companies. There should be a list there that in the chat that will tell you the companies that are there. I would get a good sense as to who is actually going to be there, know a little bit about the company, and have your 30-second pitch ready. Maybe that's just a paragraph that you can copy and paste in this format. Definitely have a resume in place as well. Lisa actually has a demo for a virtual career fair. I believe she actually included that in the newsletter. Now I think about it. Sorry for that omission, Lisa. That was created to help a person from that. So thank you, Lisa, for giving a visual of what I was trying to communicate
it's in the
by
chat
audio.
as well. The link is in the chat.
Great. Great. Thank you. The link is in the chat as well, the Vimeo site as well.
Stuart, this is Dana with one viewpoint. I was on a call with a recruiter last week, and they said a tip for students to realize is that when you participate in these virtual career fairs, realize you are in a queue. You're in a waiting, holding pattern. So mute yourself or realize that you can be heard. That was just a word of wisdom that some companies wanted students to realize that, you know, while you're waiting for the recruiter to pick up on their side, they can hear you while you're on the hold. So just take that as a word of wisdom.
Great feedback by Dana Hutchins. You probably get a lot of her emails. She's one of our account executives that works with a lot of the financial services companies and also consulting companies. And then Lisa Simmons, who is our guru around operations and technology, that also develops the newsletters. She was the other voice you heard as well. So thanks to them, and to Ashley, who I think is on the call, and Amy Bull is on the call. We have a great staff in the employee relations that are working nonstop for you. You typically don't see us because we're not student facing, we're employer facing. You're typically interacting with the coaches, but realize that there's another group that's helping and working for you to be successful as well. So thank you to our staff. Any other questions that you may have, just in general about the market or what we're seeing? Also, there's a comment here that I think Dana posted, and I think this is a good one, is there are a lot of other virtual sessions that companies are leading. JP Morgan has one. Also, I know that there's one with Fidelity that we just found today. FEMA has one coming up as well. So please take advantage of these. Again, we don't think that there's going to be as many participants as maybe there would be in a normal setting. It's all about activity now. And I feel that it's a great opportunity. Just like in the market, when the stock market goes down, it's a buying opportunity because things are a little bit undervalued. I think in the same way, because the labor market appears to be down a little bit, those that are posting jobs and so forth, they're not going to see the same number of applicants. So if you're putting forth the effort and so forth, we're expecting that your chances are going to be maybe slightly better than it would have been in a normal market of those that are available. Any other questions that you may have?
Stuart, this is Dana. I'll make one more sort of words of advice. Students, please think outside the box. You may see an employer name and you may think, well, they're financial services, but I want to do marketing or I want to do data analysis. A lot of these big organizations have openings across their different units. and it may not be what you necessarily assume it might be. So don't sort of turn away when you see an organization name. Do a little research, dig a little deeper, see what the info session's about they're going to host, look at their postings, and don't just let a name turn you away, because the best opportunity might just be right there waiting for you to apply.
That's great advice, Dana. Most of the companies that do the hiring may not have the best brand name, but in terms of an employer brand, it's quite good. And that's what we're trying to do with the Wake Employer Network, is identify companies that have hired Wake Forest students in the past that enhances your probability of getting opportunities. And sometimes these aren't household names like Google and Facebook, but other companies like a FactSet, as an example, will hire 6, 7, 8 people and 3 or 4 interns a year, and they're very good companies, and they do very interesting things. There is a question here. You read a big, this is from Max, you read a big list of companies who are actively seeking new hires. How do we get in contact with them? So for instance, Aldi has sent us an email. I think they posted it on Handshake about some of their opportunities. Pepsi, I think Amy Bull, if she's still on the line there, I think she's doing an info session with them. Google, number of different contacts there. I'm not sure if they have anything posted in Handshake for that. But if there's any companies that you're having a hard time finding a lead with, send me an email, and I will be glad to direct it to the appropriate person, and we'll get you in touch with someone. Also, go to the company sites and see what opportunities are available as well. Amy Bull, also from our team, Fifth Third Bank, is hosting a virtual information session Monday, April 6th. I know that they have hired a number of our students in the past. They've hired numerous individuals, and they're going to be having a nice session for us April the 6th. Here's a question from a young lady. I have a job offer for after graduation, but I haven't signed anything yet. Should I be applying to other options in case that falls through? This is Kristen. Kristen, my advice to you is I would contact your hiring manager, the person you've been dealing with, and ask them what their current status is right now. I would send an email saying, hey, I just wanted to follow up with you. I'm very excited about the opportunity to work for you. I know things have kind of changed here. I just want to let you know I'm very interested in wanting to continue to work at your organization. Do you have any updates in terms of what may be happening right now? I would give them, the company, that courtesy first for them to respond to you before you start applying to anything else. Certainly, could that fall through? Certainly. In any market, an opportunity could fall through once you have signed on the dotted line. But I wouldn't go that step yet. I would just go directly to the source and ask them what their status is right now, and then make a decision after that. And if you need someone to help talk you through that, I don't know what your major is, but we'll be glad to help you navigate that as well. Another question here is, how do you think, I think the question is analytics opportunities and those that will sponsor international graduate students. I've not heard a lot in terms of updates to sponsorship. As the person asking that may know, that due to a number of geopolitical issues and other just basic financial issues, the number of companies that are sponsoring are less than what it was in the past. There are a number of companies that we know in the past that have hired international students, specifically if this student is a MSBA student, that we can provide that information to you, and the coaches should have that as well. but I don't have any specific information post-virus how that has helped or hurt. Maybe one other question. We are video recording this, and our Zoom account only allows us 40 minutes. If I could take one more question, and then we'll pause it, and we can get that out to you if you want to go back and listen to it or share it with your friends. But is there another question anyone may have? If not, you can always email me. Is a member of our staff, that ER staff or OPCD, MRE staff online, do they have anything that they would like to share? Okay, well, thank you for your time and participating. Again, let me tell you that tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock, we have a Handshake 101 session. Wednesday at 6 o'clock is LinkedIn. Thursday is the ACC-SEC Virtual Fair. We hope that you'll participate in all of those. Until then, we'll be in touch. Thank you for participating.